Children, welcome to online classes of biology. So, in the previous classes, we were studying about various communicable diseases which are caused by various pathogens, isn't it? Like bacteria, fungus, virus, protozoans, then even helminths, isn't it? So, now we are going to study a new topic, that is immunity. So, as you know, we are exposed to a number of infectious agents every day, isn't it? Every time in the air, there may be viruses, bacteria. It's not that we are not coming across the bacteria or virus, and that is the reason why we are not getting disease. We are exposed to large number of infectious agents every time, every day, isn't it? Spores, fungal spores are there, viral particles are there, isn't it? Bacterial spores are there in the water that we drink, in the air we breathe, in all this what places, isn't it? This infectious agents are there, but we are not getting the disease every time, isn't it? So this is due to what? This is due to the what immunity that we are having, isn't it? We are immune to that. So all this, okay, the ability of a host. So in this case we can call ourselves as host, isn't it? Because the disease causing organisms or viruses or bacteria, they are the pathogens and we are the host. So the overall ability of the host to fight the disease causing organism conferred by the immune system is known as what? Immunity. Means in simple way what we can say, the property by which we are not getting disease every time is called what? Immunity. Understood? So the host ability to fight the disease causing organism due to what? Due to the immune system is known as what? Immunity. Understood? When we get the immunity, the diseases, then when the immunity is what? Less, or due to the decrease in the immune what power, we get the diseases, isn't it? So immunity can be widely divided into two types, that is innate immunity and acquired immunity. So what is innate immunity? It's a kind of non-specific defense, okay, means not to a particular disease or not to a particular organism we are having the immunity, means specific. Generally we have certain defense mechanism that all together can be called as the innate immunity, means that is present from our birth, isn't it? So there are different types of barriers that prevent the entry of foreign agents into our body. Okay, so they can again be classified into different types. Understood? They are physical barriers. Physical barriers means what? Skin. I told many times, skin in our body is the main barrier that will not allow any microorganisms to enter into our body, isn't it? So usually the disease causing organism enter through food, means through the mouth, isn't it? Or through the respiratory tract, that is through the nose, isn't it? Or through the cuts or wounds, or through the sexual act, isn't it? Or STDs we have studied. So through the openings of the skin or through the cut or wound of the skin only, many of the microorganisms take their entry into our body. So skin is acting as a what? A barrier for preventing many of the diseases, isn't it? So that comes, skin is coming under physical barrier. Then mucus coating, isn't it, of the epithelium lining of the respiratory, isn't it, gastrointestinal, urogenital tracts, etc. also help in trapping the microorganisms, isn't it? We have studied mucus, some of the epithelial cells in the various tracts, they are having what? Mucus secreting cells, okay, or mucus is there in the respiratory tract, in the intestinal tract, or in the urogenital tracts. So these mucus also actually they help in preventing the entry of microorganisms. Microorganisms will be trapped in the mucus and they will not allow them to get enter into the body. Understood? Then, so this all are what? Physical barriers. Okay. Now, physiological barriers means what? See, for example, stomach is having acid, HCl, we have studied, isn't it? So, HCl prevents the growth of or it kills the microorganism. In 10th class we have studied. Understood? So, acids in the stomach, they help to prevent the growth of microorganisms. Then saliva in the mouth, tears from eyes, all this are useful in what? Preventing the microbial growth, isn't it? So these all are coming under physiological barriers that will not allow the microorganisms to grow. Understood? Then in addition to that, cellular barriers means what? We are having WBCs. We have studied that WBCs fight against the microorganisms, isn't it? Leukocytes or WBCs, isn't it? Like what? Polymorphonuclear leukocytes, okay, neutrophils, okay, monocytes, etc. They are natural killer types. Understood? And macrophages in tissues. This can phagocytose and destroy microbes. Phagocytosis means what? It's a kind of nutrition we have studied in amoeba, isn't it? They can just what? They can engulf the microorganisms. What all? Like what? The polynuclear leukocytes. Okay, then what? Monocytes and some kind of lymphocytes. Okay, so we have studied that WBCs are of different types, isn't it? What are they? Monocytes, lymphocytes, neutrophils, eosinophils, isn't it? Likewise, basophils, likewise different 5 types are there. So, some of them, like what? The neutrophils, then monocytes and some kind of lymphocytes. How they kill the microorganisms? By the process of phagocytosis. Understood? Then another barrier is what? Cytokine barriers. Okay, so this are special type of barrier mechanism where it is especially against the virus. Okay, so virus infected cells, they secrete a protein called interferons. Okay, interferons, and they protects. Okay, this interferons are proteins produced by the cells which are infected by the virus, and this interferons prevent the entry of other microorganisms or other cells from getting infected from the virus. Understood? So this is example for what are interferons? Interferons are proteins secreted by whom? By the cells which are infected by virus, and that prevents the other cells from viral infections. So this is one kind of what? Cytokine barrier. Understood? So what all different types of physical barriers are there, or the physical barriers? Okay, what are the different types of innate immunity? First is what? Physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. Okay, so these all are not specific, means these all are generally present in the body, and that is not against a particular disease or a particular microorganism. It's general. Understood? So this kind of immunity is known as what? Innate immunity. Okay, now next is what? Acquired immunity. Acquired immunity means it's pathogen specific. So pathogen specific means if our body is attacked by some particular kind of viruses, okay, so the body will get immunized to that particular virus. Okay, so it's pathogen specific. You might have heard about chicken pox. That will not come again, isn't it, if once you had the disease. So it is based on what? Memory. Okay, that is once for the first time if our body encounters a pathogen, okay, it produces a response, and that response is called primary response. So what is primary response? The first time when the body encounters a particular pathogen, it causes certain what? Primary response. Understood? Or response, that is known as what? Primary response. What is the speciality of it? It will be low intensity. It will be of low intensity. And next time, okay, means body is not having any memory cells now. First time it is encountering that particular virus or bacteria, whatever it is. Understood? So that response means the body is not prepared to respond to that particular pathogen. So the response will be very low. Okay, and then next time when the body encounters the same pathogen, we can see that the response will be very intensified response will be there, isn't it? Means this is due to the memory of the first encounter, isn't it? The cells which are produced in our body during the first response of the response, due to the first response which is produced by the encountering of the pathogen, okay, that will make a very intensified secondary response. So this is also known as the anamnestic response. Okay, these responses are due to the special type of lymphocytes present in our blood, that are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Understood? So these are the cells which are responsible for the first response and the secondary response. Clear? The B lymphocytes, how they respond to the pathogens? By producing a number of proteins, okay, and called what? Antibodies. So B lymphocytes, what they do? They produce antibodies. So what are antibodies? Proteins which are produced by the B lymphocytes when the body encounters a pathogen. Understood? Then the T lymphocytes, they are not producing any antibodies, but they help the B cells to produce the antibodies. Understood? Now each antibody will have, means when you see the structure of an antibody molecule, this diagram is also important. You have to draw and practice this. Okay, so B lymphocytes or T lymphocytes, okay, these are the cells which are responsible for giving the response, and in that B lymphocytes, they are responsible for the production of antibodies. And when you see the structure of an antibody, they will have two small chains known as light chains. Okay, you can see here light chains, and two long chains known as heavy chains. Okay, and so only it is also represented as H2L2. Okay, and there are different types of antibodies produced in our body, like IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG, etc. are examples of antibodies. So any way, this antibodies will have some common cartoon or common structure, that is having what? The two light chains and two heavy chains. As the antibodies are present in the blood, this response caused by the antibody production is also known as humoral immune response. What is it? Humoral immune response. Understood? Then this is one of the two types of acquired immune response. One is antibody mediated, and this is the humoral immune response. Okay, and the other is what? The second type is known as the cell mediated immune response. Okay, or CMI. And T lymphocytes are responsible for CMI. Okay, and B lymphocytes are associated with humoral immune response, because T cells are what? B cells are helping to produce what? Antibodies, and antibodies are present in the blood. So it's a kind of humoral immune response. Clear? Then the T lymphocytes mediate CMI, okay, or cell mediated immunity, okay, and B cells are the part of what? Humoral immune response. Okay, so sometimes the organs like heart, eyes, liver, etc. fail to function satisfactorily if transplantation is means done. In this case, what will happen? They will have problem, isn't it? Means the immune system will start considering the organ which is transplanted as a foreign organ and start to produce antibodies against it. So in this case, the cell mediated immune response is responsible for the graft rejection. Means when we take any organs, okay, when we receive any organs, what happens many times our body think it as a foreign body and start producing they start rejecting it. Okay, so that person should take immunosuppressants which help to reduce the immune response all through his life. Understood? Or else we cannot take the organs from any type of animals or any individual without blood group matching, okay, or tissue matching, etc. And after that also, many times what happened, the patient has to take immunosuppressants all through their life. This is due to what? The rejection, okay, that can be faced by the immune system. The immune system think the transplanted organ as the foreign body, and it start producing it start reacting with that, and it will lead to the failure of the organ transplantation. Okay, so to prevent that, we have to take medicines, isn't it? Immunosuppressants we have to take, and this rejection of the transplanted organ is due to the cell mediated response or cell mediated immunity. Understood? So I told you there are two different types of immune response. What are they? Humoral immune response and cell mediated immunity. Okay, so which cell is associated with the humoral immune response? That is B cells, B lymphocytes, and T lymphocytes are associated with the cell mediated immunity, and this is responsible for the organ rejection during the organ transplantation. Okay, so I have explained you about two types of immunity. What are they? Innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity means it's a general one, it's not specific to a particular pathogen, and that can be of different types like physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. Okay, and acquired immunity, that is specific to a particular pathogen. Okay, and the cells associated with this are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Is it clear to everyone? We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.